Hello and welcome back to the No Excuses podcast. My name is Anne and I live in Worcestershire in England. A very sunny day today. We had a very hard frost last night and it's just blue sky everywhere. I'm washing the bed quilt, but we'll put it out for a couple of hours, but I don't think it's going to make any progress, although it's not as damp as it has been. The sun will be off it very soon. The sun sort of just about comes above the fence that separates our house from next door, because we're part of a semi, and so it doesn't really get on the line as much as it would, you know, in even a few weeks' time. Anyway, enough about my washing. Let's start out how we mean to go on. I just noticed my collar's a bit not turned over properly, but I can't reach it, so never mind. How are you? I hope you're well. I hope you're getting over Christmas and New Year. If you celebrated, did you have fun? Was it not nice? I hope that if it wasn't nice, then things are getting better for you. Here we are bumbling along. I said I was going to hibernate for January because when it's damp and dark, then I do ache a lot more. But I've slowly started putting things in my diary, and I usually go out once or twice a week. But I'll talk more about plans and what I've been doing at the end. But yeah, I've got plenty to do at home, which you'll see in a bit. But then I want to go and see other people as well. So I say I'm going to hibernate, not really. Not really. So I'm talking rubbish already, so let's talk about, today we have got, well, first of all, the malls, which I'll talk about, stop saying I'll talk about. We've got the malls, what I've been doing, what's on my needles, the winners of the giveaways, the 2 giveaways that we've got, and then we've got the, what I've been up to, waffle at the end, as usual. So first of all, what am I wearing? I am wearing the Big Love by Ankestrick on Ravelry. I will see if her patterns are available elsewhere, but I knitted this in 2019 out of Lettlopi, which I think is what the pattern recommends. This is the Apricot colourway, and you can see it's done in a sort of a rib pattern, and it works it so it's sort of a roundage, similar to an I-cord edge. And I love this. It's not the softest of yarns, but it's very warm, and it's very lightweight as well. I need to wear it more often. There's a lot of fabric here, you can see under the arms for me, but I think that's just me having to do a bigger size and short arms, because I've had a look at my Ravelry notes and the arms were quite tight on the pattern, so I expanded the armhole, and then I had to do very rapid decreases to get the sleeve length in. The sleeve length is about right for me. Doesn't creep over my hands, which annoys me, but I want it to be a warm jacket sometimes, you know, when it's sort of autumn, spring, then I wanted it to come to my cuff rather than just up my forearm a little bit. So overall, yeah, I'm very pleased. And I'll use Lettlopi again, definitely. And I might make this again, but I don't know whether I do the Big Love in Lettlopi, because I found it quite hard on my hands because it's a rustikish yarn, and also it's top down, it's got a shawl collar, so it's quite heavy. I think I'd make it longer next time as well, because it's, yeah, maybe just a couple of inches longer, even though I'm short. If I'm making it for warmth, it probably could have done with being just that little bit, you know. I haven't put any photographs on Ravelry, you know, and I didn't realise that until I had a look yesterday. I did part of the podcast yesterday, and then I went out, met Penny and Maggie in the local pub, for a couple of hours, and I was going to resume and do everything else. I showed all my knitting and things, and then I was going to carry on talking afterwards, but I just ran out of energy at that point, and it got dark, and I was like, well. So I'm back today. Now, the other thing I did is I went down a needle size on this to get it a firmer fabric, and I think that's worked for me. So yeah, I've got some notes on Ravelry, but I need to put some photographs. That's what I was saying. So yeah, the big love in the apricot colourway. Now, Ankestrick does also, she's done longer versions of this. I think it's the Great Love or something. I seem to remember there's 3 versions of this pattern, whether one's done in a different weight. I can't remember, and I should have looked that up, sorry. But I'll put the link to this pattern down below, and you can go and have a look. Mals. Let's talk about our make-alongs. Well, the seasonal mal, which started not long after I podcast, I'm going to slurp some tea, has ended at the end of the year. So we had 3 seasons of that. I don't know why I'm doing that. We had summer, spring, summer and autumn. And the autumn one has also ended. So I will show you the part of the prizes, the yarn part of the prize, but I've yet to make the bags, and I'll do some of that later on today and tomorrow. So I'm hoping to get them in the post if I hear back from the winners the end of the week or beginning next week. But the thank you for all your entries, and we will deal with those 2 at the towards the end of the podcast. Now, the jump along is still going, and I've decided that I'm going to extend the jump along until the end of March, because otherwise it's quite close to these other 2 mals ending. And I think when you think of your knitting season in the UK anyway, I think it's fair enough to extend it into the end of March. Our clocks would have gone forward, yeah, and we get the lighter nights and people start thinking about knitting different things. So yeah, if you're working on a jumper, then you've got until the end of March to finish it. Okay, so please enter it into Ravelry or on Instagram, and the hashtag will be down below. I think it's NEJAL 2021 or something. But yeah, the hashtag will be down below. Now, just before Christmas, I mentioned that because the seasonal one was ending, we needed to start a new annual mal. And I've decided, and I did say, I mentioned it before, that it's going to be new in 22, because it sounds nice. So again, I'll put the hashtag on the screen when I'm editing, and I will put it down below. So you can enter via Ravelry, Instagram, or you can email me. So this is, and a few of you, when I mentioned it before, a few of you said that you wanted to try different techniques in the craft that you're already doing, or new craft, and that's the sort of thing that I mean. So we can keep it crafting related, I think, but that can include woodwork, metalwork, whatever floats your boat, as they say. And we can, yeah, but if it's knitting and crochet, then something that you haven't done before. You know, so for instance, for me, if I was to do it, and I will enter, obviously, myself, I can't just say, you lot get on with it, go on. For me, there's 3 things in knitting that I haven't tried yet. One is double knitting, where you knit stitches sort of like that, really, and you end up with a mirrored pattern on the opposite side. One, steeking. I've never done any steeking, because I think I found one pattern that I thought, oh, that would be nice to knit, and then it put me off steeking. But since then, so many people have done it that I'm reasonably confident I could do it. I just haven't got that pattern, or a pattern with steeking, on my radar at the moment. And the other one is brioche, because I sold my brioche book, as you know, on Instagram, because I didn't get on with the reading about it. But there's so many tutorials on YouTube, And as I get older, I'm far better at watching people do things than I am reading about it. So I'd like to try brioche. I quite like the look of it. But obviously, it's getting that confidence if you make a mistake. I mean, I've done fisherman's rib, which is like half brioche, isn't it? I suppose, in a way. But yeah, I will have a... That might be the thing I tackle, actually, because I could do something small like a hat. Gain a bit of confidence. There are a lot of patterns out there that say they're brioche. They're beginner friendly. So that's my idea of what I'm going to do. So what are yours? I've opened a thread, I think, already in Ravelry. I haven't made it no chatter because we're a nice little community here. Not that I want to put other subscribers off, of course, but I think it's manageable to keep it, with me keeping my spreadsheets and updating it off whichever social media I see, either the hashtags or the entries on Rav. So please do get in there. Yeah, something new to you. Or if you've not tried it for about 30 years even, you know, I mean, I tried tatting years ago. I think I've said before, I went on a day's course, really enjoyed it, never did it again. And I want to do EPP, English paper piecing, or quilting, like mini quilting really. Very similar to what Emma Jones of Vintage Sewing Box does. I love her stuff. Sure, I've got an outstanding video of hers to watch actually. I need to go and check that. So that's the malls. Now, let's talk about what I've been doing since I last saw you. That's non-knitting related. And one of the things I showed you was one of the tenor ladies gave me was a trim it kit, and it was for a reindeer head and a polar bear. And you can't, oh, sorry, polar bear. There we are. I hated doing them. My friends don't watch, it's not her fault. There were things missing from my kits. I didn't have there's supposed to be a pale piece here of the underside of the chin of the reindeer. That wasn't in the kit. And I had some things and nothing of the others. So I was determined to finish them because I need to take them to the next tenor things. So in the end, I just did the bare minimum. And I put some stitches to the antlers. So, and I glued that on. Doesn't tell you what sort of glue to use. Plenty of thread. The felt's very poor quality, thin. But these are, I mean, these are great for older children. They'd be super. And I think it's because I'm so used to wanting to do things accurately and detail that they got me ratty. But I don't mind them now they're done. They're not going on the tree, you know. But it was an exercise in patience, which doesn't do any of us any harm, does it? I secured me bauble by doing a little star at the back, but I didn't even do that accurately. So he's got two eyes, and then I didn't have any other eyes to put on the reindeer. And I didn't care enough about it to go into my own felt stash. Well, I might have been able to find a little bit of black, but yeah. So I made those, got them off my list. I've got another trim it kit, which is a needle felted robin, and I'm looking forward to having a go at that soon. And then, so that's my my trim it kits. And then I've also been updating my craft journal. I've been putting in, I'm taking part, which I'll talk about in a bit, with Ange and her 12 cast-ons, which she's been doing now since 2017. She does it at the end of the year, going into the beginning of the year, and it's great fun. And when I watched her last year, I decided I'd take part, as you know, in the next round, and which I've done. We've got until the end of January, thank goodness, because I've got a limit of what I could keep down here next to me. You know, a lot of my stash is in the loft. But I'll show you what I've been doing. But in my book, I've been updating it. So for my mum's cardie, I've put a photograph of the cardie in now, as well as the yarn and a picture of the pattern. I've got my orchid jumper, which, you know, I just wrote on it that I undid. I've got another top that I'm going to knit, which is more summery. But I've got a terrible photograph of my mother-in-law's cardie, you can see here. It's nothing like the wall. The wall colour is so much brighter. And she said that fits her nicely, so just don't look at my pictures. And then we've got the shawl that I failed with last time. And then I've got some pictures of some of my cast-ons for, I'll tell you the detail in a bit, for, and I'm knitting, that's what I'm using that same yarn for this time. And I'll show you the shawl, how far I've got in a little while. So I've been updating it with what I've cast on, and what my plans are, immediate plans are, or there might not be in any order, but there are things I want to do with yarn, certain yarn, and I'm going to stop changing my mind all the time. And then at the back, about halfway through, I've done a, I had a smaller book that was wire bound, an A6, and I took that out, cut the edges off, and I've put things in. I've secured it with washi tape where I talk, and that's in September 2019. And of course I've not kept it up to date. I'd got a list there from 2019 that, of what I wanted to do, ready for Christmas by the end of the year. And then I've got other things, and then I've added to the bottom of there where things didn't go so well, so I've tried to update it where I can, or where it's been on the other side of the page, so I've had to write it down. And then so I've got quite a few of those pages, lists and things, and then I've put down here other plans that I want to do. For my sewing, I want to make a stencil, a pouch for my needles that won't fit in my big needle case, you know, the posh one. A pouch for my stencils and my journal, so I can pick them all up and they can all be together. And at the bottom I've done some horrible little sketches for pincushion ideas that I want to do. And then I've put pictures of the charity bags that I made. I won't show you all of them that went out, and the final one has arrived in America, I'm really pleased to say. So yeah, and then what I made this week, and they are a couple of bags there, and if you've seen Instagram, I've put them on there, and I'll now talk a little bit about those bags. So I'm quite enjoying printing out. I found a different way of using a different program now to put several pictures on one page. I don't have Word on my laptop anymore. I'm not prepared to pay for it. I've got a free program where you can put things on top of one another, and you can stack them onto a piece of A4, and then print them out, and then I can cut them out and stick them on. So I've been using a glue stick and washi tape, combination of the two, to secure things in here. Yeah, quite enjoying that. Slurp time, excuse me. Now, because I'm doing all these cast-ons with Ange, I needed some more mags, and I was running out left, right and centre. And also, my main Christmas presents this year were 2 advent calendars. I'll show you the pictures of the one in a little while. And I've had this lovely fabric. I bought it at Watson and Thornton in Shrewsbury, and it must have been in 2019 again. And I hadn't put a zip in for ages, so I decided that I'd make myself a bag with a zip in. Cut it all out, and then at the bottom I wanted to use some fabric from some old trousers that I can't wear anymore. Mum had made me these trousers. It's just a grey marl, and they're not stretchy enough for me, but they're stretchy enough to be a pain in the bum when trying to sew that fabric. I thought I'd cut it not on the bias, you know. I looked at the grain. I tried to cut it straight, but it kept moving, and I got Tom to cut it out again using our AO cutting board in the kitchen, because he can get more pressure because he's taller than me. I find that I can really hurt my arm cutting things out using a rotary cutter, but it's so much easier using a rotary cutter because you don't lift the fabric when you're cutting. So he cut it out for me. It was all true. He used a metal strip to make sure everything was square because he's an engineer after all, and it looked lovely. Get it back on me, excuse me, on my ironing board. I got a tickle. To look at it, yeah, to pin it, and it had gone like that again at the bottom, just about half an inch or so. So annoying. But before that, I got even more ratty. I should call this the ratty podcast, shouldn't I? I'm not ratty talking now, but I bought from Empress Mills some wadding, Visaline or Vilene. I think it's 630, and it said it was nice. I can't remember what the description said, but it's very, very soft. You know, it wouldn't give you a lot of structure. So I cut it out to go to line this bag with, you see, and then I cut lining out as well out of fat quarter I got from Hobbycraft, because the spots on it went with the spots of snow on there, and I thought that was very clever of me. And anyway, I tried to sew it onto the right side of the fabric, and of course that means I've got it kept getting caught in the foot because it's quite soft, and I was getting really ratty with it. I couldn't get it to stay straight. It was a bit, you know, wifty wafty, and that really got me ratty to the point that I stopped sewing, and I was getting really tired because I couldn't control it. And I am a novice sewer in some ways, you know, well, in many ways. I clearly demonstrate it to myself every time I make something. Anyway, I went to bed. I went back into the lounge and watched telly with Tom in the evening, and I thought, I looked it up on the account that I've got with Empress Mills. It was cost me £15, and I decided that life was too short and I was going to undo it, because you know, I couldn't get this to run. It kept getting caught in the foot. I didn't want all this wafty stuff going down into my machine any more than I needed to. So I decided to unpick it the next morning, and I've put it all back in the bag. It looks nice and square, you know. I don't know, it's me probably. I put it in the bag. I've labelled it what it is, and I was going to give it to the charity shop, but my mum said she's interested. I bought a metre. It's a metre 58 inches wide. There's mixing your measurements, isn't it? And yeah, I was quite happy to give it to the charity shop, but Mum said she'll have a look at it, and she can't make use of it. She'll give it to the charity shop. And she said it would be quite good for putting as an outer layer on cushions that are a bit hard, maybe, or cushions that are sagging a bit, you know, to give them a little bit of extra bump. Now, because I'd already cut the lining out, the other thing that I bought at the same time from Empress Mills was this, and it's called Super Liner. Now, they are very proud of this because it's a cream colour. It's got wadding on the back. You can see it's not very thick, but it's glued to it. You can dye this. You can dye it washable, stitchable. So I use this as the liner instead. Now bear in mind I'd already cut the lining out of that grey that I just showed you. But instead of putting that side up, instead of putting this side up on my foot, put that side up. So it says you can use this as a liner. I'm going to use this in the liner of the bags I'm going to make for the giveaway, because it's a nice, you know, it's a neutral colour. It's light, you know, people quite often want a light inside of the bag so they can see what's in there easier. So effectively I've double lined this bag with the super liner and the lining, but I'd already cut the lining out so it made sense to use it. But why didn't I sew it the other way around so it didn't really get caught in the foot like the other one did? I'd recommend this, it's nice. And I bought, I think I bought 2 meters of this. And I think this, I'm going to use this when I make other bags as well, because it's easier. Unless I've got a specific line I want to make, I might double it up. So I've got this nice squishy bag. Obviously, first of all, I put the zip in. It's not done very well. It's a bit tight. Put tabs on it, but they weren't big enough. And, I mean, it undoes, it does up, you know, it's fine. I cut it up, I cut the zip up, put tabs on it, put it in, and I'm pleased with it. It's fully functional. It doesn't look that wonky apart from the zip now, and the zip isn't that true if you look at the stitching. Oh, it's not too bad, I suppose. A bit hard on myself, but you don't. If you're not hard on yourself, I don't think you achieve, you know, as much if you don't set yourself high standards. And I'll show you what I'm storing in here before I put this down to one side. This is my advent calendar from Jane, from Laura at Adventures in Yarncraft. Look at that. That's the 25th skein. So all these colours in here I've got in the bag. Absolutely beautiful colours. I'll just show you a couple different ones. Greens, you know. I like the ones where you get more than one colour in as well. It's got green in it. And I'll show you a photograph I've taken of the... It's not a very good photograph because I couldn't get it all in. But I think I'm going to make the party cardigan by Amber O'Brien with this. On the other thing it had bits of chocolate in, and you get got a little pouch as well. And then in here, I've just popped in the little light bulb stitch markers. They're tiny ones actually. They'll be suitable for little narrow. There's 4 little different coloured hearts, stars there. And this little pouch, and then as a zip pull, because it needed it really on a big bag like this. I've got, she also included that, which is one of those little spheres. It's got tiny little shiny peach coloured stars in, and that goes quite well with the tone of the advent calendar. I'm really pleased with the colours, really pleased. And I'll show you my other one, which is from Jane at Family Tree Yarns, which I'm also really pleased with next time, because I haven't taken any photographs of it and I need to make a bag to put it in. Jane's is a bit more tightly wound, so it takes up a little bit less space, but there we go. And that's the tail of bag 1. Drink some tea. I'm not telling you, I'm talking to myself. It's getting cold. Bag 2. Now I had a metre of this stuff, so I might as well, or half a metre. That's what I'm going to do. Now this is the bag I cut out first. And I also cut my favourite wadding, which is Bosal foam. You can see Bosal foam, lots of people use it. And it's got quite a bit of structure. Look, so you can hold that up, and I know this has got things in it, but it would stand up on its own anyway, and you can fold it over. So with this one I made it, I did my box bottoms quite well. Look, see? I'm like a child, aren't I, wanting praise. Well done, Annie. Oh, that one as well, that's almost spot on. Yeah, but a millimetre out. And then I put a different, from the same fat quarter that I lined the other one in. Got that. Because again it's got dots on it, but I'd already got some grey lining, pale grey lining that I'd cut out for this bag. Cut this bag out first, made the other one, probably just as well. And then I've put a drawstring on it, because I think after tackling with that zip, I decided that I'll go back to my drawstring. And this has got a cardigan in it, which I will show you in a minute. And I've already been talking. Oh, the video's restarted. A bit shiny then. I've got all my lights on as well as the sun. I've got powder on my face, but I look a bit washed out. I think it's because of the bright sun. Should I try and turn that light off? You see if I... Makes no difference whatsoever. So we'll keep it off. Okay. So that's what I've been doing. And I take a deep breath. In fact, I'll start the video again. I'll go and get the stuff that I've been knitting on. And we'll carry on talking. Boy. Hello, I'm back again. Part 2. Now, last time I was knitting on that shawl and I asked you what you thought about me restarting it, because I wasn't happy with the wild rye shawl. Happy with the pattern, but I didn't think the yarns I'd chosen were particularly well suited to it, because you couldn't really see the speckles on the paler yarn. And then I started the rune shawl, but that just annoyed me a bit, because again I didn't think it was making the best of the yarns. And when you're going to knit something and it's going to be around for a long time, you hope, and especially I think if I'm knitting for somebody else, I want to get it spot on. The wave to Tommy's took the dog out. So I finally cast on. I'm sticking with the Bojagi shawl. Does it say who this is by? Knit Boop. Yeah, I'll put the details below, of course. So just to remind you of the yarns, they are, I bought a Turning Tide set from Helen at Giddy Yarns a few years ago, and this is the darkest one and the lightest. So you can see the speckles in it that I didn't want to get hidden, and that you can't really see that these have got the odd speckle of darker colour and green in, but you can't really see it on my camera. But anyway, the two of them tone beautifully. And if I'm really honest, they're not really my colour. And I ordered 5 skeins to make the Spectre jumper by Hoagie Locatelli. And I was saying to Penny yesterday, I don't think the pattern would have shown up very well. But when I think about it now, these aren't really the right tones for me, the darker one at least. So the Bojagi shawl starts with garter stitch, and then you go into some very easy mosaic knitting stripes. So although these are stripes like the other ones, to me they look more uniform, less messy, and I can see what the colour is from there. And then I'm about to start the lace section. So you've got a lace section in the dark colour, and then you do another mosaic strip, and then you do a garter edge again. So it is an asymmetric triangle, so the rows are growing. Every 2 rows you get an extra stitch. But it says in the pattern that it's easy to make bigger. When I look at the yardage, the meterage, I've got more meters, so I'm going to knit as much as I can, because I don't mind if I end up with a smaller garter bit at the end. It looks from the pattern that it's about 3 or 4 inches deep. Well, I don't mind if it's only 2 inches deep. I want more of the stripes, and I want more of the lace pattern. Whether the lace pattern will show up very well in the darker colour, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm sticking with this now. I am not changing my mind again. Anyway, I've cut the yarns though. Now, I'm happy. I'm happy. This is my evening knitting at the moment. But that will have to change, because the other thing I need to get started on again, which I'm counting as... So that's my first cast on for Angie's 12 cast-ons. The second one is a restart. I'm counting it as a restart because I undid all of Tom's cardigan, and I'm not sure whether I said that to you last time. I was going to run out of yarn even at 900 grams, I think, and I'd rather not knit it all and then run out on the shawl. I'd rather have a bit left over. I've taken the pattern out, which was a simple cable twist every 8 rows. Taking that out because it wasn't really showing up that well anyway on the beautiful variegated yarn. That's in a yellow bag behind me. You can just see the edge of it. I need to take down the sleeve, knit that back up again because the sleeve's too long. So I'm going to do the sleeves first, and I'm going to sit there, and that will be my evening knitting. Once I start the back, I can just sit there and plod on. It won't take me long to do because it's hour and weight. So yeah, so that's yarn that I shall be knitting up as well. So that's cast on number 2. Now, when I did this recording yesterday, this came out horribly, horrible colour. That little icon of me on YouTube where I've got my Soul Doctor on, this is the same colour. It's a mustardy colour, a light mustard, a bright mustard, but that is almost neon on the camera. So I won't hold it up to you for very long because you might have to put your sunglasses on. A bit shiny, aren't I? I think it's a light. This is the Shoreline cardigan. I'll put a photograph in by Marie Green of Olive Knits. I've got her Knit a Seamless Sweater in 2 Weeks book, something similar called. This is the Shoreline. So I started at the neck, and you can see the raglan shape in there. Going down there quite clearly. This is double knitting, so it shouldn't take me too long to do. And that's called granite stitch in the pattern. So it will be, when it's being worn, it'll be that way up. Quite a simple pattern. I think the pattern's written unnecessarily complicated myself. It's almost gone overboard. But it makes it easy to follow, I think. It's almost too many instructions. So I did a little bit of this one night, and then I put it to one side. And this is from my friend Michelle. Hello, Michelle, if you're watching. I didn't have enough of this left over to make myself anything else, because this was a special dye from Kethen at Triskelion. This is BFL Cashmere and Silk. And when I wore my Soul Doctor to meet Michelle before Christmas, she said to me at the end of November, she said, "Oh, I like that jumper." I said, "Do you like the yellow?" She said, "Oh, yes." I said, "Good. I'm going to make you a cardigan out of it because there should be enough for her." I've looked at the meterage again, and there should be enough. I might make it slightly shorter because the pattern's quite long. And Michelle, well, she's not short, but she's not tall. Anyway, we'll see. So yeah, so that's cast on number 3, the Shoreline cardigan. Are you keeping up? I tell you what, I'm thoroughly enjoying doing this, but because there's so much choice about what you can knit, it's doing my head in as well at the same time. Not stressful, it's enjoyable, but it's like, I don't know where to turn, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. And all the, interestingly, I mean, the shawl was a restart, although it's always going to be part of the 12 cast-ons. The yellow yarn is left over from previous ones, and I bought a lot because he had this, he had the base, the end of the base, he wasn't going to order anymore, and that particular base. So he was offering a good deal on it. Of course, me, in my olden days, never used to buy. I used to see a good deal and had to buy it. And this is the next cast-on. This is the Kudzu cardigan, and it's been knitted. I'll show you the yarn first. This is, you might recognise it, the drop soft tweed that I was doing my orchid in, but I'm running into trouble with that. And I'm knitting it with the plume, the willow and lark plume in silver birch colour. So 2 greys together. And I like it that you can see the tweed still coming through. That the, there's a message on my phone. That was, you can see the tweed, yeah, the mohair isn't obliterating it. So this is the Kudzu cardigan, again it's knitted top down. I'm obviously a sucker for punishment, because you know it's not my favourite one. But I've done a couple of nights on this. I'm just getting to the edge. I've started the yoke patterning, so it will be that way up. See, I put a photograph in of the cardigan. What I did do differently to the pattern is I cast on using the larger needle by mistake initially, and then I thought, actually, Anne, that's a good idea, because if it's too big, it gives a bit of giving it, and if it's too big, I can pick it up easier and add a little bit more rib. Well, the other thing I did was I added 6 short rows to the back of the, while we were increasing for the yoke, I added 6 short rows, so that's the back, like that, and then the front is that long, so it's not a huge difference, only 6 rows, but it's about an inch difference. I can line it up, but yeah, you can see that's where that ends, that's where the back ends. So I'm pleased with that, because when I looked at the pictures, I'm finding that a lot of crew neck designs are very open at the neck, and that would drive me up the wall, because I'd be like this all the time. I'm quite round shouldered on the back, and I've got no shoulders, you know, anyway. So things will slip backwards off me. My love note slips back, even though it's got short rows in the back of it. I'll turn my chair off. So this is going to get put away now. I've shown you. I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to get Tom's cardigan out and get that on the needles. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle doing the 12 cast-ons. I think I've put some dates on Ravelry, just totally random, when I've added the projects. But I'd like this to be done so I can wear it while it's still cold. I'd like to get that to Michelle before her birthday, which is in April. I don't know who I'm going to give the shawl to, because it was supposed to be for my cousin Sharon, but it's not going to be the big wraparound shawl, boho style shawl that I've got envisaged for her. So I shall be knitting her something else, and I am looking for patterns at the moment for using the 3 colours of that yarn for my cousin. Yeah, so we'll see, and that will be part. I've got until the end of January to do all my cast-ons. I'm trying to do all 12, I might not make it. The other, I've also cast on Jane of Mouse Knits and Crafts. Jane sent, and I did a swap for Advent, and from that I'm going to make, that was a 10-gram one, and I'm making little stockings. I'll put a photograph in of the first one I made. That's 4-ply, and then I bought some double knitting fluffy stuff from King Cole. Can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. And I've edged that one, and then I'm hoping to get 2 mini stockings out of one ball, one 10-gram ball. One of them will be for us next year, and one of them will either be given away or yeah, I might sell it, because it's the local craft fair that Penny's signed up to, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm doing one with the fluffy bits on, and the one without. I'm just doing an I-cord edge and a loop. So I won't get those out because they're buried, literally buried under there. Anyway, so yeah, the next lot of casts on. No good me talking about what I'm going to cast on next, because you know how good I am at changing my mind. Or is that bad? Bad? Good? I'm just going to show you this fabric. I went to see my mum, and I ordered some fabric from a shop on Etsy called Weaver D, and she's actually got a website. And I wanted some different fabric, soft trousers, because I've got this problem with my back. And I ordered this sweatshirt in. It's pale blue, a duck egg almost, really. It's blowing out a little bit. And it's fleecy. Oh, can you see that? It's soft on the back. Can't really see. So it's knit on the front and soft on the back. Got quite a bit of... It's got a little bit of stretch. It's more one way. Two-way stretch rather than four. I don't know why, but I thought I was getting mild. I missed a bit about sweatshirting, I think, or decided to try it anyway. And these are going to be a pair of trousers for me in the house. I am going to be so hot. I mean, I sit on a plastic chair, don't I? And I get cold easily because I don't move about a lot, especially my feet. Perhaps these should have been included feet as well. But I think if it's too synthetic, you know, you don't want to get too sweaty, really, do you, when you sat on plastic? I sit on a hand towel all the time, so that I've got a barrier that is actually, I'm not sitting in, I'm usually wearing trousers, in the winter anyway, that are man-made fibres in the main, polyester and viscose usually, Ponte-Roma. In the summer I wear a lot of linen trousers. So sitting on the towel gives me that barrier, but I don't know how I'm going to get on with those. They might be fabulous, I might hate them. But the point is, Mum's cut them out for me, and she's written my instructions to tell me how to do it. I mean, I know anyway. I made some myself years ago. My mum's a brilliant seamstress, aren't you, Mummy? She borrowed a book, I think, from the library years and years ago and made a block for me for my trousers because I couldn't, as I got older and more bent, I couldn't really wear shop-bought trousers. And so Mum's been making, she actually said the other day she liked making my trousers. She enjoyed it because it was she can make a pair in a couple of hours. I laugh. I never get to that stage. But anyway, so hopefully they might be done by the next time I talk to you in about a fortnight. So let's get on to the prizes, shall we? Let's get on and talk about the seasonal malt and the autumn malt prizes. Now, I did a random number generator off my spreadsheets, and the autumn malt, first of all, and we just grab the skeins of yarn that you will win. Hide it. So the autumn winner is Vicky Shaw. Hello, Vicky. Vicky's entered quite a few times on all of my mals, so it's a well-deserved winner from the amount of effort she's put in. Thank you. Being a random number generator, of course, you can put one in and still win. So that's the beauty of it. It's taken out of my new favourites. But yeah, Vicky's done some lovely stuff, and this is, because it's autumn, then she's going to be sent the Turning of the Leaves, which is 100% superwash BFL, and it's part of the Rhapsody Nature Club that I had. And I think it gets cold where Vicky is, and this would make us either a little shawl. It's not as soft as merino, it's still soft, but a hat or something, you know, mitts, whatever you want, it's your choice, or could go into a jumper. So that'll be winging its way to you, Vicky, very soon. If you see this, can you contact me on Ravelry with your address, please? I know you're in the US. So congratulations. I will make a bag for you to pop that into. It won't be a huge bag, it'll just be something that holds a couple of skeins, and then I'll put a few more bits and pieces in and send it off to you as soon as I can. And the winner of the seasonal mail, so for every season you entered, you got one entry into the end of the year thing, is going to win this lovely sock set from Alex of My Yarny Corner, Alex and Dan of My Yarny Corner. And if you don't watch their podcast, why not? It's a lovely, friendly podcast. So this has got beautiful colours in it. That's blowing out a bit because it's very, very similar colour to the Shoreline cardigan that I showed you earlier. But you can see it's got speckles of the same if I move that out of the way. It looks orange there, it's not orange. Beautiful high twist merino. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and you get 120 grams here. So if you didn't want to make a sock, you could make a shawl, you know, or you could sort of tidy up to you. And the winner of this, now I don't know your name, and if I do know your name, I haven't linked you. If you comment on YouTube or Instagram, I haven't linked you to your Ravelry account. You may have told me and I've forgotten, so I apologise for that. But it's Ness Girl, Ness Girl on Ravelry. And you will be getting that and a bag and a few bits and pieces. So a big thank you to everybody who entered. Congratulations. Thank you for entering my little podcast, make-alongs. It's super talking to you. It's super seeing what other makers make. It's a great inspiration, and you see things you like, and you think, ooh, you know, ooh. You add to your favourites. You know, sometimes there's not a cat in hell's chance you're going to, whatever that means, you're ever going to complete all these things that you'd like to make. But thank you very much for entering, everybody. And, you know, if you'd like to win a prize, why don't you enter the jump along or the New in 22 mal. There will be another mal when the jump along ends, because I like to keep two on the go where I can, because it's nice. And I've had some lovely donations. Some of the things that are going into the bag with this yarn will be something that my friend's donated to me. She doesn't knit, but she said, "Oh, we have these. Would these be any good for your podcast?" And I went, "Yeah, I think so. That's great. Thank you." So there you go. So that's all the making and all the prizes. I shall get sewing in a bit, but I'll just have a little chat now, get settled, and have a little chat about what I've been doing. So the lighting's not brilliant today. I think it's the contrast between the light outside and in here. I said to Tom yesterday, I said I could do with a better camera really, just colour better, you know, for my podcast. I went on Amazon and looked for budget camera for podcasting. 600 quid. That's rubbish, isn't it? I've got a Panasonic Lumix, which Mum and Dad bought me for my 50th birthday. So it's already 11 years old. Works perfectly. And it does videos, and I need to try it, because I tried it once and I think it only did 15 minutes, even though it's got an extended memory of an SD card in it. So I need to have a go and see whether that is any better quality. I'm not sure about the sound, but I've got a microphone now, so I probably sound a bit nasally, more nasally than usual, really, because I've not long got up. I got up, had a cup of tea, started podcasting. So yeah, since I last podcast on the day before New Year's Eve, the 30th, didn't I? We didn't do anything New Year's Eve. We never do. I didn't even have a drink of alcohol, I don't think. We didn't have a special meal. We just sat, watched Jules Holland. We might have had a snack of cheese and biscuits, I can't remember. And we went to bed about 1:30 once the fireworks had stopped. Fireworks weren't too bad, and Bertie's very tolerant of fireworks, because we've got a gun club just over the main road, very near to us, about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away. And you can hear that in the summer when we're outside together. You can hear the bum, 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 bum going off. Clay pigeon shooting. And he used to woof a bit, well, under his breath when he first got here. He doesn't take any notice of it now. And I think that's made him more immune to fireworks. So if there's a loud one, you might woof back at it, but he doesn't dither. We're very lucky that he doesn't get too scared. Now, Bertie had been poorly, and thank you so much for all your good wishes for him, you know, because he was a bit dithery for a few days, but we could see he was getting better, so we didn't think a trip to the vets was necessary. But he seemed to have a dodgy tummy for a little while, because we tried him back on some chicken and that made him poorly again, so he's on biscuit mainly now. But he did have a sausage for his lunch yesterday, and he's had no reaction to that, but he sees 2 weeks later after I last spoke to you, so I think he's back to normal. And then what did I do? I went to see my mum on the Saturday or the Sunday. I just can't remember what I do at all. And then this week, I'm just going to jump to this week, because I don't know if I did anything last week. What did I do last week? No, I don't think I did anything last week. I think I stayed at home. It was damp and it was dull, so I stayed in. This week, on Monday, I went to Webb's, the local garden centre. Got some glue from Hobbycraft. I've got a new glue called Ultra Stick Clear. It says it's for paper, and I got one of their glue sticks as well. So I'm going to try that. It wasn't expensive. I could probably get it cheaper. Yeah. So it's got a sponge tip on it. I haven't taken it off yet, so it won't work. It's got a separator. It's got a sponge tip on it, because everything's really... I won't podcast again when it's this bright. So I can do some sticking in my book. What else did I buy? I didn't buy anything else from Webb's. Went and had coffee. They give you 12 free drinks a year, and you can have large or whatever you want from their drinks menu. I had a hot chocolate because I was hungry. And we had a good 2.5 hours there. That was nice. I wandered around, saw my sister-in-law who works in Hobbycraft. And then I came home and did a few things. I think I finished my bag off. And then yesterday I met Maggie and Penny in... this weekend I've been making my bag because I was at home. Met Maggie and Penny around the local pub yesterday, and we had a good chat about things. Actually, mainly it wasn't about knitting. Isn't that funny? And said perhaps see them in a fortnight, so that'd be good. And then on Friday, I'm meeting my friend Denise, who's a bit mad. I know her from work, and we will go into the local town, go and get a drink and something to eat at lunchtime, and do a lot of talking. And then we, part company. After that, she'll come to my house so that we'll go and park in town for free. Because I've got my blue badge, obviously, and I need her to be there anyway. I need her to be with me to get the chair out of the car, so, yeah. And, I haven't done any reading yet. I want to do some reading. Set my goal of, 50. So I should be able to read a book a week. I haven't touched one yet. And yet, once I start, then I will be hooked. I did order one more lot of yarn, and I've told myself that I ordered it before the 1st of January, but I didn't. I ordered it just after, because I was on an hour. I put it in my cart twice and took it out, and then in the end I thought one last fling, and that's on its way to me, and I'll show you next time. But apart from that, I've been a good girl. I've been looking through my stash on Ravelry and what I want to make. I've got a jumper. I keep choosing shawls or jumpers and cardigans, and I could do with doing little things as well, couldn't I? Apart from the stockings. I'm making a rod for my own back, really. But then I envisaged that these 12 cast-ons that I'm doing will be, they'll take me most of the year. So, yeah, we'll see. Okay then, I think that's everything. This is going to be nearly an hour. I don't think I've said anything I want to delete. I don't think I've sworn like I do in real life. And as always, if you've got a comment, please put it down below. I'd love to hear from you. Advice, comments, constructive criticism. And don't... See, I've only got powder on as well today instead of full makeup, and I don't think that's making me shinier. But we'll see. usually you can't do, you know, there's no such thing as too much light, but obviously there is. I'll go and start editing this in a minute. I'm going to get something to eat. And I will speak to you very, very soon. Yeah, drop me a comment, write to me, email me. I'm always happy to hear from you. And I'm thinking that, you know, when the weather gets a bit better, and if we're allowed to, then we should organise some sort of meet-up in the summer. Oh, I tell you what I did do. I chatted to Sal on Saturday. That was really good fun. No, Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, after New Year. So that was nice. She showed me around her new house. So that was a nice chat as well. Hello, Sal. Yeah, we need to organise a meet-up. I think one of the first places I need to go to, because there's so many nice ladies down there, is South Wales, because it's easy for me to get to. You go down the M5, down the M50, down the A40, get on the M4, and you're in Cardiff. So I'm thinking something like that will be doable in the probably later spring, you know, when the lights are lighter. The lights are lighter again. The lights are lighter. Yeah. And then, you know, if that's successful, we could do something else. It'd be nice to meet people. My mum's already decided she wants to come. So, yeah, that'd be good. Good fun. I will I'm going to finish my tea, which is cold, so I'll get another one. And I will see you back here in about 2 weeks' time. You take care, look after yourself. Ta-ra.